Hello, my name is Kristen, and the title of my senior capstone proposal is How Color Influences One's Choices. And so, a little overview about me. My name is Kristen Kam. I'm a four-year student at UH West Oahu. I went to Pearl City High School. My program of study is creative media, and my concentration is in general creative media. And today I'll be going over my plans for senior capstone, my thesis statement, the objective of the research I've conducted, and I'll address the significance of my practicum with my research. And so my thesis statement is color can influence one's choices by evoking physiological and psychological responses stemming from innate reactions or learned associations. And the objective of my research was so I can learn and understand the importance color has on how one reacts, and so I could utilize this knowledge to create effective designs. For my senior capstone plans, I plan to do a practicum because I feel like applying this knowledge would be able to help me make effective designs. And since a practicum would give me hands-on experience, I can utilize this knowledge in the real world. Moving on to the significance. For the first significance, there are different responses and there are two types. The first one being physiological responses. This deals with bodily functions, and this sort of is more natural responses that we don't really notice that occurs. So an example would be with warm colors, it causes someone's heart rate, blood pressure, even arousal to increase. Whereas when someone's exposed to cooler colors, it would cause someone's blood pressure, heart rate, even arousal to lower. And for psychological responses, this deals with someone's behavior, thinking, and emotions. And this is also kind of affected by external factors, which I will be going over later. So an example would be like with the color red, someone might feel anger or that they might have an avoidant behavior because they might have negative connotations with the color red, so they want to avoid seeing the color red overall. And for future implications, I can create designs that would evoke certain reactions. For the second significance is external factors, and there are three that I'll be going over. The first one being culture. Since we're like a part of the US, we'd be familiar with Western culture. And so an example would be like green has more positive connotation that usually means good. Red would have more negative connotations, meaning bad, dangerous, and like even black could represent death, white mean purity. And if you were to compare this to other cultures, they'd have like opposite meanings and associations. Personal experience, something I can think of is when we start school, usually when we take tests or even correcting work, we usually we usually see green associated with correct answers and red with wrong answers. So if we're constantly like experiencing that, we can just assume that whenever we see green, that's usually good, and red usually meaning bad. And for the third external factor, which is context of situation, colors can have different meanings. So an example would be with the color red. Sometimes it can mean stop if you see it in a traffic light, but it could also create sense of emergency because you usually see it in like ambulances, police cars, fire trucks, even warning signs. And future implications would be creating designs that are catered to a particular audience to ensure its effectiveness. Moving on to data, according to HubSpot in 2023, and Anita Napain, who has been a marketing professional in different industries for over 10 years, they state that 93% of consumers make purchasing decisions based on visual factors, and up to 90% of that is based on color. And a little bit more data says that the first 90 seconds, opinions and decisions are made. And so this kind of proves that color is important. Moving on to target audience, I chose people who I thought would benefit from the knowledge of how color influences decisions and choices. The first one being graphic designers, since they have to design posters, ads, web design, and all other sorts of things. Second would be marketing professionals and advertisers. I'd say it's similar to graphic designers, since they do have to promote a brand through campaigns to engage their audience. And the third one being brand entrepreneurs and strategists, since it deals a lot with brand identity. They could choose colors that would help align with their brand and also the message that they'd want to convey. For a proposed solution, the intellectual significance would be the ability to adapt to different cultures and achieving desired responses from their target audience. And this would solve the problem by providing information that would lead to more well thought out design decisions and increased effectiveness while avoiding misunderstandings, which kind of goes back to external factors, especially culture. And for my preparation and process for pre-production, I put research more about my topic, find and apply to internships, and create a portfolio. In production, I put doing the internship for the required time and taking notes about my experience. And in post-production, write about my experience along with how my research helped me. For my deliverable, I was looking for jobs that I thought would utilize color the most and how I could easily apply this knowledge of how color influences choices. So the main one I was looking at was graphic design, and that deals with creating designs that use visual elements to communicate a message or relay information. And another one I was looking at was web designer, which is kind of like a subcategory of graphic design. And they would create designs for a website. That is my presentation. Any questions?